Mr. Raymond Holt was a man everyone in the city knew, not for his kindness, but for his coldness. A self-made millionaire who had built his empire from nothing, yet somehow lost all warmth along the way. His mansion was big enough for 20 people, but only one maid lived there, a quiet young woman named Maria. Maria was humble, always polite, and rarely spoke unless spoken to. She came from a small village where her parents had passed away, leaving behind debts she struggled to pay. She worked hard, not for luxury but for survival. To Mr. Holt, she was just another employee, replaceable and invisible. One stormy evening, as rain lashed against the mansion's tall windows, Mr. Holt sat in his study reading a newspaper article about a businessman whose maid had stolen millions from his safe and fled. He scoffed bitterly. "Sure, people like her," he muttered, "only act honest until temptation arrives." That night, a dark thought crossed his mind. A test. He decided to leave his safe open the next morning. Inside it lay over $200 in cash, documents, and a diamond bracelet that once belonged to his late wife. He wanted to see whether Maria's honesty was genuine, or just a mask. The next morning, as usual, Maria entered the study to clean. Mr. Holt pretended to be out on a call, but quietly watched her from the security cameras on his phone. She hummed softly as she dusted the shelves, her movements gentle and precise. When she reached the safe, she froze. It was open, stacks of cash shining under the light. Mr. Holt leaned closer to the screen, waiting for that moment, the one where she would slip a few bills into her pocket. But she didn't. Instead, Maria looked around nervously, then gently closed the safe door. Her lips moved, whispering something the microphone barely caught. Sir must have forgotten. I should remind him. A moment later, she walked to the phone in the hallway and dialed his office number. Sir, I think you left your safe open, she said softly. Don't worry, I didn't touch anything. I locked it for you. Mr. Holt said nothing. His pride forced him to stay silent, though something in his chest ached slightly. He ended the call abruptly, telling himself it proved nothing. Maybe she just didn't have the courage today, so he decided to test her again. Over the next few days, he left smaller temptations. An envelope of cash on the table, a diamond ring beside the sink, even his wallet carelessly dropped on the floor. Each time, Maria either returned the items or placed them neatly where they belonged. Yet, her honesty didn't soften him. Instead, it made him angry. No one is that pure, he grumbled. Everyone has a breaking point. He wanted to find hers. A week later, Mr. Holt set his final trap. He left the safe open again, but this time, he planted a hidden camera and a note under the cash that read, "If you take even $1, I'll know what kind of person you really are." He then pretended to leave the house. Through the camera, he watched as Maria entered the room. She looked pale and tired. Her hands trembled slightly as she cleaned. She hadn't received her salary for the past 2 months. The payment delayed because of Mr. Holt's tests. Her mother's medical bills were piling up. She had been skipping meals just to send money home. As she passed the safe, she stopped. Tears filled her eyes as she looked at the cash inside. Mr. Holt leaned forward, his heart pounding. Would this be the moment? Maria slowly reached into the safe. But instead of taking money, she pulled out a small photograph of a woman in a silver frame. It was Mr. Holt's late wife. She wiped the dust from the frame, whispering softly, "You must miss her so much, sir." Then, to Mr. Holt's utter shock, she placed an envelope into the safe. Inside was a note and a few crumpled bills, her savings. "Sir," the note read, "I noticed the safe was open again. Maybe you're forgetting things because of stress. Please take care of yourself. I'm leaving my small savings here. For your medicine, if ever you need it." You've been kind to give me work when no one else would. I don't have much, but it's from my heart." But for the first time in years, Raymond Holt felt tears in his eyes. He didn't know what hurt more, her words, or the realization of how cruel he'd been. He rushed home immediately, not caring about the cameras anymore. When he entered the study, Maria was just finishing her cleaning. She turned, startled. "Chore, sir. I didn't touch." He stopped her with a trembling hand and said, "Chore? Maria, why would you give me your savings?" As she looked down, embarrassed. "Chore, because you looked lonely, sir. And I thought maybe, if someone showed you a little kindness, you'd smile again." The old man broke down. For the first time, the millionaire who believed money could buy anything realized it couldn't buy trust or love. He called her back the next day, not to fire her, but to offer her something life-changing. He paid off her family's debts, bought her mother's medicine, and told Maria, "Chore, you passed every test I ever set. But it's me who failed the real one, the test of humanity." From that day forward, Maria didn't just work for him. She became the daughter he never had. And Mr. Holt, he locked his safe forever. Not because he feared theft, but because he'd already found the richest treasure in the world, a pure heart.